Hello and welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Geneva Subdivision. My name is Daryl Cruz, owner and builder of the layout, and your host for episode 31, which is a continuation of episode 25, which was from a couple weeks ago. Episode 25 was a Proviso yard crew ops video that showed the Proviso yard crews breaking down a train and building two trains for outbound. And so episode 31, which is this video, is about connecting motive power to the trains and departure of the trains out of Proviso. There will be one UP train that will be departing westbound out of Proviso, and then the eastbound train departing will be a Norfolk Southern train heading back to a Norfolk Southern yard in Chicago. So we start out with 3 units in the fueling station at the Proviso engine house. And they are all fueled up and ready to go. And so they're heading out to be connected to the outgoing train as we watch a crude oil train run by. So it's going to the very end of the throat of the engine facility yard and connecting into the drill track of the classification yard in Proviso. You can see it's kind of out of the screen here, but it'll reappear here pretty shortly. As you can see on the throttle, kind of cranking it up. Now that's not the engines, that's actually another train coming back in the other direction, this time a stack train. And it's running through the Proviso area. And as you can see, the lead unit of the locomotives that I'm trying to get connected to the train is 9687, so that's the top throttle that you can see. So I have the power cranked up to 20, and you can kind of see it in between the wells going by here. The stack train's kind of blocking the view, but you can see pretty well right now. And so we have 5515, which I believe is a AC 4400, and then 5714, which is another AC 4400. And then the lead unit is a dash 9 C44-9 unit, and that's 9687. So we'll see it connect up just as the stack train makes it through. And its train is in departure track 2. So it's going to be at least, I usually try to allow at least 10 minutes for the train to get the the air pressure back up before it departs. So while we're waiting for that to happen, we'll see the Norfolk Southern locomotives being added to it. Where the 2 sets of Norfolk Southern units are located, that's a holding track that is there for foreign locomotives. Mainly it's used by Norfolk Southern. There are a number of Norfolk Southern trains that run between Proviso Yard and the Norfolk Southern Yard in Chicago. Now in this particular case, the locomotives had to get permission from the dispatcher to go onto the main line in order to get to the the head end of their train. The cars that are closest to the camera are the outgoing Union Pacific train, and then the string of cars behind that are the Norfolk Southern train. Okay, we have a flashing yellow there to go through the signals. So the train that we're going to be connecting to is the set of cars, the second set of cars. We have the orange covered hopper is going to be the first car there. And so the Norfolk Southern units are pulling through the control point here. And then we'll communicate with the dispatcher and request that the turnouts be thrown so they can re-enter the yard. This is, of course, with communication with the yard master also. You can see the yard crew locomotives are back out of the way so that the Norfolk Southern can connect up. We have two other trains that are running at the same time. I usually have a couple of trains just running around the layout while I do operations when I'm operating solo. So the 9698 train, that was the stack train that went through. And then the 8424 is the crude oil tank train, so we'll probably see them. I didn't quite couple up there, so we're going to try it again with help from the brakeman. It's going to align the coupler. That's better. All right, before it departs, it needs to back up so that it can clear the signal bridge. And then the signals will indicate whether or not the train has clearance to go ahead and proceed onto the main line. But this train also will need some time to air up the brake pressure and before it's able to depart. So there's the crude oil train going through again. I think that's going probably about 40 miles per hour. Even though the throttle says 37, it looks like it's going about 40. Maybe a little bit fast. All right, so enough time has passed to where the Union Pacific train can head westbound across the Geneva sub. There will be an upcoming ops video on the operations that this train will have in Rochelle, so you can look forward to that. It does have a stop in Rochelle to drop off and pick up cars at the interchange track. Now, before it's able to head onto the main line, it's got to wait for the stack train to go through. The train that the track that the stack train is on right now is track 1. Since this is a left-hand running main line, when the UP train gets onto the main line, it'll do actually 2 crossovers. The first crossover will be to get from the Proviso yard track onto the track 1, and then the second crossover will be to get from track 1 to track 2. All right, so with the stack train clear, we'll turn on the ditch lights and get ready to depart. All right, ditch lights are on, and we'll crank up the power. And so you see the turnout that the locomotive is approaching right now is the first crossover, so it's going to be taking that turnout to head into to cross over onto track 1, and then from there it'll cross over again from track 1 to track 2. So on the left there, of course, you have the engine facilities. That was modeled after the Proviso engine facilities. And then you can see the fueling track there. Those are Snyder fuel cranes. The orange and black there. Now here comes the crude oil train. It's going to have to, it's going to have to stop here because the UP train that's just heading out is crossing over onto the same track that the crude oil train is on. So it'll come to a stop here. And so here's a little bit better angle that you can see the train taking a double crossover here. So it goes from the Proviso lead track into track 1 and then crossing over to track 2. Also is a good view of the engine facilities in Proviso. The building to the right there, by the way, I didn't get a chance to mention, are the car shops that are located in Proviso. All right, with the UP train heading out, the Norfolk Southern is all aired up and ready to go, and it has a flashing yellow, so it's ready to depart. Eastbound towards the Chicago yards. You can see the tank train still waiting. This train is on departure track 1, which uses the yard throat to actually get onto the main line. I don't think that's prototypical, but just with space constrictions, it was, I guess, a compromise that I made. Although I'm sure there's some prototype yard that does that at some point. In the distance, you can see a couple of warehouses that were modeled after actual warehouses right next to the Proviso yard. If you look at the Google Maps of Proviso yard, you'll see that there's probably 5 or 6 warehouses surrounding that area. You can also see in the way distance the Proviso yard tower, which was also modeled after the actual yard tower in Proviso. So both trains, both the UP westbound and the Norfolk Southern eastbound train have departed. Thank you so much for watching this short video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great day.